This story begins in 1984 when parents found their 19-year-old teenager named John McCullum dead in his bed in Indio, California. The cause of his death was determined to be self-inflicted gunshot wound. McCullum was found wearing headphones listening to side one of Ozzy Osbourne's 1980 album Blizzard of Ozz, which featured the song Suicide Solution. That song would become the subject of a civil lawsuit against Ozzy and his record labels CBS and Jet Records. The parents of McCullum claimed that a 28-second instrumental portion of the song contained hidden lyrics encouraging the listeners to, quote, "get the gun and try it." The complainants claimed that the lyrics were sung at 1.5 times the normal speech rate and were not part of the published lyrics to the song. Instead, the album's liner notes listed the line as, and I quote, "vocal frills and ad-libs." UPI News would also report that the lawsuit against Osbourne and his labels named the Black Sabbath song Paranoid as also promoting death. McCullum's father, a banker, would tell UPI that his son dropped out of the 9th grade and spent hours listening to heavy metal and would be quoted as telling the publication, "He's a perfectly normal kid there, who really doesn't show any signs of depression at all and happy, and all of a sudden, 6 hours and he's dead." No one could explain it. The only thing we know is he was listening to this music. Press coverage about the incident did go against some of the things his father claimed, as it would come out that John McCullum suffered from depression and that he did have some trouble with the law, including an arrest for drunk driving. But his father claimed that he knew his son well, adding, "We were extremely close. We had our own handshake and our own hit on the arm, so this came as a complete surprise to me. I never knew what was on those records he listened to. The first time I heard them was the day after John's death, and I knew it was the music that caused it." The complainant's lawsuit relied on a California law prohibiting the assistance or encouragement of suicide. Ozzy's wife and manager Sharon would respond to the lawsuit, telling the New York Times, "I'm glad this boy never read Shakespeare in school, because he would have shot himself years earlier. Everyone was killing everyone in Shakespeare." Ozzy's lawyer echoed the same sentiments, but about Hollywood movies like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Ozzy would tell Billy Morrison in 2020 during an interview on SiriusXM how he learned about the lawsuit, recalling, "Sharon phoned me up in England and she said, 'Get on a plane, you've got to come out.' I said, 'Tell me what I've got to come out for.' She said, 'I'll tell you when you get here.' I said, 'Is it problems?' She said, 'Just get on an expletive plane.' I get to LAX, come to the terminal, and there must have been 200 cameras. I'm looking over my shoulder while I'm standing, and there are about 15 microphones in front of me. 'What do you think of this lawsuit?' And I'm going, 'What lawsuit?' 'I'm going to go back to my hotel. I'll find out what it's all about." Ozzy would add he was, and I quote, "beyond shocked about the lawsuit." Ozzy would have mixed emotions at the time of the suit, as he told an interviewer here.
The boy must have been pretty messed up before he ever heard an Ozzy record. And I can't help that, you know. I feel very sad for the boy, and I feel terribly sad for the parents, because as a parent myself, I'd be pretty devastated if something like that happened. But no, and I have thoughts about this. If the boot was on the other foot, I couldn't blame the artist.
CBS Records wouldn't comment on the suit, but Osbourne's attorney, Howard Weitzman, did.
What happens if you lose?
I think the effect in the industry would be disastrous. I think everybody that writes a song, every actor that speaks a line, every author that writes a piece, every screenwriter that writes a script is going to be looking over their shoulder, afraid that whatever they say could be misinterpreted by some very small percentage of individuals. And the real problem with a case such as this is they have totally misinterpreted what Ozzy meant to say.
What did Ozzy mean to say?
The word suicide solution is meaning suicide as liquid, like solution as a liquid, not a way out. And the song's about like the dangers of alcoholism, like alcohol will kill her just like any other drug will, you know. It's just wine is fine, but whiskey's quicker, suicide is slow with liquor. And that's easy. It's just a terrible case of misinterpretation as far as I'm concerned.
Ozzy would claim that the song's message was misunderstood, saying the song was written about friend and former AC/DC frontman Bon Scott, who died due to acute alcohol poisoning. The song was meant to be a warning about the dangers of drugs and alcohol. According to the book Ozzy Knows Best, McCullum's father went as far as to hire a company called the Institute for Bioacoustics Research, who claimed that some of Ozzy's music contained hemisync tones, which do exist, and according to the book, and I quote, utilizes sound waves to increase the rate rate the brain assimilates and processes information. The complainant's lawyers went as far as to claim that because of these hemi-sync tones, listeners of Ozzy's music were susceptible to influence. Soon enough, outside organizations, including religious groups feeling galvanized by the lawsuit, used it as evidence about the evils of rock music. The lawsuit would end up being dismissed by a California judge in 1986, who would find Osbourne and his label were not responsible for Malcolm's death. Judge John Cole was quoted as saying in his ruling, "Musical lyrics and poetry cannot be construed to contain requisite call to action, for the elementary reason that they are simply not intended to be and should not be read literally. Reasonable persons understand musical lyrics and poetic conventions as the figurative expressions they are. We have to look very closely at the First Amendment and the chilling effect that would be had if these words were to be held accountable." That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll see you again on Rock and Roll True Stories.